Hey everybody, welcome to FCN Sunday Edition. I am JCo. You can follow me at JCo is it. And to my right, as always, the Revolution.
Hey.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm having a okay day.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I want you to go ahead and talk about that. If you can address that issue with the viewers and let us know what's going on.
Oh, okay. So first and foremost, I want to say really thank you to all the FCN on-air talent and behind-the-scenes staff who have really stepped up for my absence of not being here in the studio and have picked up my slack for writing and editing in my absence. A lot of you may not have known, but in January, late January, I had a really bad head injury. And I'm sorry, sometimes I get really slow figuring out words and stuff like that. And which resulted in me not being able to do a lot. So I know a lot of people like, I don't get a chance to see the Revolution a lot or hear from them a lot of stuff. I'm not able to come to the studio. I'm not able to leave home or even my bed most of the time because I'm managing a lot of pain most of the time, and I'm not able to use my phone. I'm not able to sit in front of televisions or laptops. And so today isn't a really bad day. The medication that they have me on, it helps, but it's not, a cure-all. It's kind of like a Band-Aid. So I just want to say thank you all for everyone that did know for these last couple months and that have checked on me, especially the FCN talent and behind-the-scenes people who have checked on me. I want to say thank you all and friends out there who have recently found out because, I'm kind of a secretive person and I don't like worrying people. But it's kind of got to the point now where I felt like I should kind of share it because it's not getting better. And so...
that progress is not what we thought it would be.
Yeah, it's not where I thought it would be. And so I just kind of thought I would just let everyone know out there what's going on. So, yep. That's it. My life sucks. So, yep.
All right.
Yep.
That was an interesting ending. I wasn't ready for that one.
You wasn't ready for my life sucks?
No.
Okay.
But I do know from descriptions kind of what you've been going through, and I mean we're here. We've been supporting you as best we can, so we are glad to have you.
Thank you.
For sure. Whenever we can get you.
Thank you.
FCN is better with the Revolution.
Thank you. What's better is this chair is better.
It's not so wobbly.
Well, it's not that it's wobbly. It's just I'm a total fat ass. And so this chair doesn't make me feel like a total fat ass today. Like I sat down, I was like, oh, okay. I don't feel like I'm going to die today. Because normally this chair makes me feel like I'm going to die. So
I'm glad that you don't feel like you're going to die.
Yes.
All right, which you're not. Nobody dies on FCN Sunday Edition. Some of the other shows, I can't speak on it.
Yes.
So,
speak on it. I see what you did there. Clever man.
7 p.m. today.
Clever man.
All right, so we have a great show today.
We have a very weighted show.
Lots of good topics.
Yes.
You ready to just kick right into it?
Kick a little something.
Them cars that be bumping. All right.
Yeah.
So, top story today. Michael Smith decided he's going to leave the ESPN 6 o'clock Sports Center, which is just about a month after Jemele Hill decided she was out. Yeah. So, I mean, and that in itself, I mean, it is news, but I think the reaction that has surrounded them and is surrounding this is, really what has caused me to be like, I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
So Jemele Hill left about a month ago, right?
Yeah.
We actually discussed that, I want to say, on a Sunday edition when it happened. Yeah. We were kind of speculating why did she decide to leave, but pretty much, a lot of pressure on her, to be a certain kind of way that she didn't want to be. Wasn't getting the freedom. Michael Hill has echoed those statements very recently, right before he announced that he was coming off of the 6 o'clock Sports Center show.
Yes.
So, basically saying ESPN wants them to be a certain way, doesn't want them to talk about certain topics, doesn't allow for as much of their own themselves and their creativity to come onto this show, which, to my knowledge, was why they went from His and Hers
Absolutely.
to the Sports Center. Like, they moved them because of the ratings and the publicity and the popularity that they were gaining from being those people.
Absolutely.
On His and Hers.
That was a total bunch of BS.
Yeah.
They kept they kept moving up the ESPN ladder because of their personality.
Exactly.
Personalities, excuse me. They totally were promoted when it was what was it? Numbers Never Lie.
Yeah, I think that was it.
It was Numbers.
I wasn't watching back then, but
you wasn't watching back then.
No.
So when it was Michael Smith was on Numbers Never Lie, and Jamel Hill was just jumping around from show to show,
right.
And then they were friends, and people were talking about the chemistry that they had. Then they were doing a podcast together, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on this.
That is correct.
They were doing a podcast together, and then he had gotten to it with what's his name, ex-football player, and they got into it at Black Journalists Conference, and he called Michael Smith some racially charged, black racially charged epithets. Yep. Basically calling him an Uncle Tom, and some light skinned kind of talk. You old so and so ass,
right.
And so that basically got him fired, right? So it opened up a spot. And they was like, hey, we'll bring Jamel in. So they brought Jamel in, and they reformatted it to His and Hers, which they were doing on their podcast. His and Hers blew up.
Yeah, they started doing all those movie skits and promos.
Everything was just popping. Everything was going in their favor. And then they were like, hey, man, let's move this to
the 6.
To the 6.
And they rebranded the 6. Like they redid the look of it, like to fit these two.
To fit them.
And it had been called the 6 for a while, but they really were like, okay, this is what it's called. And people were even thinking, oh, they're renaming it for them. No, they always referred to it as the 6.
It was always the 6.
They're just branding it now.
Yes.
To say, hey, this is new, and here's our guy and gal.
Yes.
Right. So, on from there, that was February of 2017.
Okay.
Right? That they started hosting. So Jamil is Jamil.
Yeah.
Has not changed. I've been reading her when she was just writing.
Yes.
Has not changed.
Yes.
From that, she's been with ESPN for about 11 years.
Yeah.
Tweeted some things, that ESPN didn't like. There was comments before the Trump comments that got her in hot water or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was a couple incidents and she got suspended, and then of course Trump magically makes statements and people just go along with the narrative, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, well, this is why, ratings are down. And this goes into the whole, football players not being political during the national anthem. Basketball players shut up and dribble, right? White people just don't want black people to tell them, hey, we need something, we have something to say.
Yeah.
Everything is not okay. I'm actually going to talk about this on tomorrow's Prime News. Michael Bennett, who was recently traded from Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks football, just wrote a book and is about to come out called Things That Make White People Uncomfortable. Right? So these are things that make white people uncomfortable. When black people say, hey, we don't like this, we feel like this should be changed. And we're going to tell you while you're watching us entertain you. And even though the percentage of their political statements versus sports is probably like, less than 1%.
Okay.
They're reporting sports all the time. That less than 1% is enough to people say, oh, you're just talking about politics. There's no place. Just report. Just play, blah, blah, blah. Right? So Michael decides he's going to retire. this is not the only person that says something. This is just kind of a microcosm of what all the white people who are happy that this is going on and who are blaming these people has said. Mike North on Twitter, some guy in Chicago. I don't know what he does.
No, he's not in Chicago. Don't put that. No.
Sorry. He's in Park Ridge, Illinois.
Yes.
He's in Park Ridge, Illinois, which, for those of you who don't know, I dated one white woman my whole life, and she was from Park Ridge. So I know that city intimately. And it is the whitest of the honky-fied white cities, suburbs in this country. May not be the whitest, but it's tied for some other places. There's no place whiter, okay? So he's from Park Ridge. He's in Park Ridge, Illinois. I don't know where he's from. I don't care.
Yeah.
And he tweets, Michael Smith gone from ESPN TV and will be reassigned after he and his partner helped destroy ESPN numbers and caused massive layoffs. Okay. So let's talk about the numbers, shall we? Let's go into this claim that they are the cause of ESPN ratings going down and the ESPN layoffs.
Please.
There was a recent ESPN layoff this last December,
yes,
right? Which was the first ESPN layoff of big numbers, right?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the first.
No.
They had another layoff previous to this. A big layoff where they lost big names. They lost a lot of people that had been with the company. This was, I don't remember exactly, but it was about a year before this layoff, right? So before Michael and Jamil were on the Six.
Yes.
Okay? And if it happened around that time, they hadn't been on there long enough to make any kind of waves or changes.
No. It wasn't the Six.
But it was before they were on there, right? So 2000, I'm going to tell you, the ratings for ESPN have begun to drop since 2014. From 14 to 15, there was a 7% drop in ratings. From 15 to 16, there was an 11% drop in ratings. Where were Michael and Jamil during this time? 2014, 2016, not hosting the 6 o'clock ESPN Sports Center, which the reason why we're talking about that is the most popular, the most watched ESPN Sports Center, because they got them all day, right? This is actually the reason why they got to that slot. Because ratings were going down and they said people want to watch these two.
Yes.
So people are blaming them for ratings going down. People are blaming them for causing layoffs, which is so freaking ridiculous. Why is ESPN actually losing ratings, Raybo? In your estimation.
In my estimation?
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. When that was happening, I believe that ESPN was the leader. Okay?
The worldwide leader.
The worldwide leader. And you want to know why ESPN was the worldwide leader?
Tell me.
Because ESPN was doing innovative reporting. They were fun. They were remember when people started calling the NFL the no fun league?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Because you used to be able to dance, you used to do the NFL, the end zone dancing, you used to be able to have fun, and you used to turn into ESPN, and they used to do all the booyah and all these weird little isms that you could only get from ESPN.
Right. Exactly.
Right? And everyone was like, who are these weirdos? What is going on? Because you used to be able to only see weird sports on ESPN. Then you could only see weird sports anchors and reporters and analysts on there. And then they started to take themselves too serious. Then when you started getting these guys who started getting paid all this money and
to be journalists.
And now, like, no, I'm an ESPN journalist. I'm an NFL hard-nosed hitting journalist. And once, I'm going to tell you this, once they got, this is my opinion, once they got that NFL contract, once they got Monday Night Football, everything changed. Everything changed.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
What else changed about ESPN?
What's that?
Disney bought them out.
Yeah.
Owned them.
Yeah.
That was another big change.
Yeah.
So now we are homogenizing ESPN, right?
Yeah.
We are making this the standard. We are making this straightforward robot to wink. reporting news, right? So they got NFL football. They had to change. They canceled a show that they were producing.
Oh yeah,
because the NFL didn't like it.
Because the NFL did
too close to home.
Listen, and that show. What was the name of that show?
Monday Night. I don't remember.
No. It was so good.
Yeah.
And what's funny is it was no different than what's happening right now on the show on HBO with The Rock.
Right.
Right. It was no different.
But the NFL has no reach into HBO. So
no, but yes, they do because
they do have a show on that.
No, but the NFL has given HBO the rights to their teams.
That's right, and they're using
NFL teams.
Using NFL teams?
No,
they weren't. It was a created.
Yes,
because they didn't have the rights.
And they were listen. It was just bizarre. It was bizarre, and so they canceled it. Mm-hmm. It was bizarre, man. It was bizarre. Yeah. I don't know.
So let me add to that.
Yeah,
because I absolutely agree with your analysis. So ESPN became a monolith.
Yes.
We got ESPN. We got ESPN2. We got ESPN News. We got ESPN College. We got ESPN Deportes. Yes. All right. So they invest all this into television, cable television, and they're like, oh yeah, this is the way to go, and they start growing and they get big, and then they stopped. They didn't. They failed to update their business model. They failed to update their broadcast strategy. Right. So people start cutting cords. Right, this is a phenomenon that's happened over the last. I want to say probably maybe started a decade, but really ramped up over the past 5 years.
I'd say really heavy. In the last 3 to 5 years. Yeah. Like really heavy in the last 3 to 5.
Right. So you got people like me who stopped paying for cable. So I'm only going to go on there and watch specifically what I want to watch, and I can find it places. Yeah. Right, and I can go in and I can see hot takes from anybody I want to, really, and then your online model. They had the Grantland, which was huge, and then they split with Bill Simmons because they had problems with Bill Simmons, right? So that shut down, and then they have their online website, and then you got competition like Bleacher Report, who is not tied to these Disney's and NFLs, and is reporting more real. You know what I mean? More, hey,
somebody
this is what's happening. Yeah, but they, of course, but they are not yet to the point of what ESPN is. Yeah. You got even, I'm not a fan of theirs, but Barstool Sports. Yeah. Putting out content and gaining in popularity. So you got all these other choices, and ESPN has not updated.
No,
yet.
Because they got corporate, man. Once you have shareholders, man, once you have those entities, it's over. Yeah. It's over, and it's the suits. It's not fun. It's not youthful. Listen, man, they don't have them. Them two were the people that were bringing in this. Let me be very clear here. Yep. Let me be very clear. ESPN knew what they were doing by saying, hey, they engage people on social media. They moved the needle on social media. Yes. They knew what they were doing by hiring them. Yeah. They listen. I know this for a fact. I don't care what anyone says. I don't dislike Michael, but sometimes I find Michael to be disingenuous. I find him to be very disingenuous, and I find him to be like a lot of people out there who will do and say one thing on camera and to be whatever he has to be successful. Right. I don't find him to be, like I said, a genuine person, right? I think Jamel is. I don't think Michael is. And so one day I called Michael out. I was like, fam, why do you have a Batman mug and you work for Disney? Why do y'all let him, who's the producer that allows him to have a Warner Brother, the enemies? Like, I literally called, and I added him, added ESPN, I added every show, and listen to what I tell you. The next day, that mug was gone. Do you hear me? The next day, that mug was out of here. And I was like, small victories, symbolic victories from the Trollinator. And so, they engage. Nobody else, the Jaws, these old dudes were not engaging.
Yeah, not even like Greenberg and
none of them. And what's his name? You said Grantland.
Simmons.
Bill Simmons engaged.
He engages.
He engages.
Absolutely.
And guess what? You all don't like because they dip off into more than just sports. Because this, like, what do you all think it's going to happen? What's the word that everybody uses now? I just can't keep up with y'all buzzwords.
Intersectionality?
Yeah, I hate that word. I hate all y'all words,
and I
man.
swear people 99% of the time use it wrong.
All y'all words. I hate all these buzzwords. I promise to God. I hate y'all. I hate all you people who went to community college and then you all read one book and some of y'all didn't even go to community college. Y'all just found a book.
Google shit.
You just heard somebody.
No. Let's be clear. They're not reading books. They're Googling.
Oh, they're not even Googling. They're following their fave who went to college, who said something, and then they just repeat it and try to keep it in the context in which they said it. So you guys are just, what was the drug that they just kept stepping on that your boy was? I don't care if you call it blue dog shit. Like, it's just like Frank, infringe, Frank. I don't like these words, Frank. And so you're gonna get these people who are gonna talk more than sports. I say this rant. That's an old word for you young people who are Snapchatting. And intersecting everything.
Your realities.
Yeah, all your cross worlds and multiple realities. Yeah. That you're going to dip off into different topics. Yeah. You're not going to get the LeBron Jameses and the Kevin Durant's just shut up and dribble. That these people have brands, they have families, they have friends, they vote, they purchase. They're going to talk about the stores that they like. They're going to talk about the politicians that aren't doing things that they like in their neighborhoods. Like, what are you talking about? So they're just supposed to, so you want somebody to just go to work and listen, tell me the job that you have that nobody talks politics at work. Tell me the job that you have that no one brings up their religion. Tell me the job that you have that no one talks about sex. Tell me the job that you have that nobody talks about class. You please tell me that. Please tell me the job that you have had in the last 10 to 15 years where sex, religion, class, politics have never come up within a 5-day, 8-hour, 40-hour work week. I will wait. Wait, so that hasn't happened?
Oh no,
that hasn't happened?
It's non-existent.
Okay, so then how big of a fool would I be to tell you to shut up and write, to shut up and code, to shut up and edit? That's ridiculous, right? Yep. So then why would you hold Jamel or anyone's feet to any fire to tell them to just be professional, just report, just dribble? Listen, man, listen. It's absolutely asinine. It's absolutely insulting. It's insulting to tell someone to do that. It's insulting. Yes. So what is that really saying? What is that truthfully saying? Get to telling me what is that truthfully saying, because I want to kind of get out of that, because I'm going to get fired up here, because what is that really saying?
It is saying that basically, to rephrase an old adage, black people are to be seen and not heard.
Oh, okay.
I want to see you. I want you to entertain me in the way I want to be entertained.
Yeah.
But don't do anything else, because I don't want to look at you as a human outside of my TV screen.
Oh.
Outside of my phone screen.
Oh. So just entertain me.
Yeah.
Just shuck and jive.
Shuck and jive, exactly.
Oh.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
That's what we want you to do.
Okay. Well, good luck to you, Michael. I don't hate on you. I know you have a wife, you have kids, you have a beautiful family. I think you're talented. You wouldn't have gotten here. Like I said, I just personally think he's a disingenuous guy.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit of a phony, but I think he's a talented phony.
Yeah.
I think he's a talented phony. I think Jamel is very talented. I think let me be honest here. Let me be honest. If Jamel were a man, Jamel would be Jalen Rose. And
who, interestingly enough, is going to be on Mike Greenberg's new radio show.
Yep. And how many faux pas have Jalen had?
Oh, yeah. Quite a few.
And he hasn't been...
No, drag, nothing.
Nothing. He has called all kinds of people out. He has done all kind of... Listen, and they're both from the same place. Yep. But she's a woman, and she's a black woman.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Double, like, I don't want to hear from you at all.
I don't want to hear from you at all. You are barely...
people are mad. The fact that she's on their TV screen, period, pisses a lot of white people off.
Period.
You know, looking at messages and tweets and shit like that. So, so ESPN's going to be like that right there. Desk with no people. You know, they are failing, and they are failing the way most of America is failing right now.
Yes.
In that they feel like there should be a divide between what black people are giving us and what they are trying to get.
They want what they want.
They do. They want what they want. So,
all right.
There we go. So up next, we will be discussing RuPaul. We're going to bring Trezene on to have that conversation with you. His recent comments about transgenders being on his show. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Trezene here. So excited to be back on the Sunday edition after a 2-week hiatus from the show. I was doing some investigative reporting.
Okay.
In the South, getting ready for a huge story. Hi, Revolution. How are you?
Yeah, I've already dealt
I know.
with it.
I'm just excited to be back.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Get to it. Okay. So, last week, RuPaul did an interview for The Guardian.
Okay.
And it was nice to read that article. He basically talked about his life growing up. He talked about his rise to fame, learning that he was different and learning how to capitalize on that difference. He also talked about his wildly successful show, RuPaul's Drag Race, which I have come to love to watch. He talked about the success of that show. And the interviewer, who I thought did an amazing job, really asking some really great questions, went in and talked about the actual political message of RuPaul's Drag Race and asked him, is there a message in this show? He said, absolutely, there's a message. And this message, he says, it's a message about humanity. He said he doesn't have a political agenda, but does have a position on identity. He says that is the most political you can get about identity. Then he goes on to say that it's what us little boys who were maligned as kids and who were ostracized figured out. He said, you don't take any of this shit seriously. It's a big F you. So the idea of sticking to one identity, it's like, I don't care. I'm a shapeshifter. I'm going to fly around and use all the colors, and I'm not going to brand myself with one color. After he made that statement, the interviewer went on and said, ooh, yes, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And said, and I'm going to paraphrase, and says, you have a lot of fluidity with regards to identity, and that's kind of bumping heads with the transgender movement. He said, it sure does. He said, there's always been a dichotomy of the trans movement versus the drag movement because I believe identities, you should embrace all different currencies. But trans movements really wants you to recognize that one thing, and that's their new identity, right? Okay. So then the interviewer, pigeonholing him in for real, says, would you have a trans woman on your show? He hesitates and he says, probably not. He said, I've had trans women on the show who identified as women but had not done any real physical changes to their body. Once you start doing physical changes, I'm bowing out pretty much. Okay, this article got published. And not just the general public, but former contestants of RuPaul's Drag Race dragged RuPaul.
Yeah.
You're talking Jiggly Caliente, Jinx Monsoon, Peppermint, who did come out as trans on the show and then made transitions, BB Zahara, Benza LaCreme, Sasha Velour, and Courtney Act. Major players on RuPaul's Drag Race came out either in support of Peppermint, who is trans woman now, or either came for RuPaul and said, basically, you're outdated and I can't believe you said this. I cannot believe you would not support trans women in our community, yada, yada, yada. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. RuPaul came back and doubled down on the statement and said, yeah, you can take performance-enhancing drugs and still be an athlete, just not in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely loved, which is basically saying you can do all that if you want to, but you ain't going to be on my show, which is the Olympics of all things drag, right? They continue to drag him after that, and then about 8 hours later, RuPaul comes back on Twitter with an apology that says...
Well, hold on. Okay, you're moving too quick.
Okay.
Let's take this in parts.
All right.
First of all, let's you move much too fast here. So okay. So RuPaul said growing up, he figured out very early on that he knew who he was, right?
Yes.
So RuPaul figured out that he himself was a young gay man.
Yes.
Right? RuPaul, I've read his biography. I know about RuPaul.
Okay.
RuPaul has known that he was a gay man very early.
Very early.
Very early.
Very
right?
early. Yes.
Okay. So RuPaul came to New York City, where he was a club kid in the 80s, experimenting with drugs. He was in the...
He was a huge pothead. He admitted that even in the interview.
Yeah. Oh, he was beyond... RuPaul was a lot more than a pothead. Okay. He was a club kid, and they were using a lot more than pot. Okay. So let's talk about this.
Okay.
Right. We all know that you can't be in the LGBT community and not know and support the trans community.
Absolutely.
Like you just.
That's right.
They go hand in hand.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So do you really believe that RuPaul is insensitive to the trans
Absolutely not.
plight.
Absolutely not. Not at all. You know, and to be quite honest, I feel that RuPaul is annoyed by all of it.
Yes.
I read in a couple of articles where, you know, for the earlier seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race, he would come out and say, "You've got she-male," right?
Yeah.
And how people came for him for that.
Yeah.
Saying that you are being derogatory towards trans women by saying she-male, right? And so he had to stop doing that, and he was very annoyed with that. Or how he would use the word tranny on the show, and people came for that. He's just like, what in the world is going on? And I don't think that someone like RuPaul, who really took something that was truly subculture and brought it to mainstream, and has really been a focal point, an identity, an icon, a visual marker, if you will, of this community, to come out and say that he's insensitive, it makes absolutely no sense at all. No sense at all.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If social media, if we were had the exact same technology and the platforms that we have right now, and hip hop was emerging now, would hip hop have the exact same birth and rise that it had now if we were able to call black women bitches and hoes and people nigga and move in that derogatory fluidity? Would we?
I don't think so.
You wouldn't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay. So hip hop, and how many black people would you say were empowered economically, creatively, in every
Through hip hop?
Through hip hop. Would you?
Many.
How many would you say? Would you say?
I would have said collectively as just a people, there was much
millions,
benefit there. Yes.
Millions, right? Even if it wasn't. Even if you're not talking like I became a mogul or something, but just like hip hop changed your lives.
Absolutely.
Right? We're talking.
Right. I would say even if you didn't think you were a direct consumer of that, there was benefit.
There was benefit.
Absolutely.
Okay. Even with some of the negative aspect there was a lot of benefit from that.
Yes.
So would you say that same type of aspect is to be had when you would be a RuPaul, taking words that were used against you,
That's right.
and to empower it, and to be like, nah, we finna reclaim that. I'm reclaiming my time.
Absolutely.
And you're not getting ready to use that against me.
Right.
And you're taking all the sting and all the stank out of it, and you putting it out there. And you know, like old school New York, Lower East Side, you're putting it out there, and you're airing it out in between the two buildings, and letting everybody know what your laundry looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing that bothers me about with everyone coming out, right? You've transitioned. A couple people, Jiggly was like, you know, I just want to be respected by my community. Hold on. There were people saying that they want to be respected. At no point did RuPaul disrespect you. At no point did RuPaul's comments disrespect anyone.
No.
He literally was talking strictly about competing in his show about men transforming themselves
That's right.
to be women
Yes.
in traditional drag.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Are women allowed to be in the NFL?
They are not.
Are women allowed to be in the NBA?
They are not.
Do they have a separate league?
They do.
For women basketball players?
They do.
Do they have a separate league for women soccer players?
They do.
Okay. Do they have a separate fighting division for female UFC?
They do. And that is definitely highlighting one of the issues that I had with this is that this whole issue of gender, non-binary, binary, and we're wanting to lump everybody into one thing as if the separation of genders is something that just cannot be had any longer at all. And I feel like it is the biggest frustration for me personally in this trans movement is trying to erase gender for everyone. That there is absolutely no real conversation and thought of just talking about what this really means in the separation of gender. That it's almost as if they're saying it is inherently bad. It is inherently negative to separate the two genders for anything. For anything. I don't felt that they read this article at all, because even after he makes that comment, he still goes in to talk about just some of the issues with regards to the drag movement and the trans movement. And so I'm like, y'all didn't read it. You just saw that somebody excluded you. Forget the reasons why. You just saw someone excluded you, and you took that wholly negative that you're not affirming my identity. There's no way in the world that RuPaul has not affirmed y'all's identities throughout this entire show. And to come for this icon, to listen, man, I don't care what your thoughts are on anything lesbian, gay, bi, trans. You can respect RuPaul. And I felt it was wholly disrespectful for them to come at him this way without even stopping to think about what he is saying. He didn't say you couldn't go do drag. He didn't even say I owned drag. He said, for this show, I am about men giving a big F you to the notion of masculinity by the irony of dressing up in exaggerated femininity. If you are a woman or trans woman who has transformed her body, you take the irony out of it. And that's why we watch. Listen, that's why I watch. I be like, man, they got that padding just right. They got that makeup contour just right. Yeah. It is a huge thing, I think. And I don't think he's wrong for saying on my show it is limited to just men. And I don't even think that's saying that's even coming from a point of some oppression, patriarchy type of thing. Like, for him to say I just want it to be just men, I don't even think it comes from that. I feel that these ladies just want everyone to just accept them. And if you don't accept them and you're excluding them from something, then it's if you're not affirming who they are. And I think that's just wrong.
But here's the funny part, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at the Jinx Monsoons. Let's look at the Jiggly Calientes. Let's look at the Peppermints. Right? Can you go book national now?
Listen.
No.
Can.
Can you go book national shows now? How?
Because of this show.
Because of whom?
Because of RuPaul.
Oh, okay. So RuPaul, listen. Jinx Monsoon and your narcoleptic ass.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh, yes.
Jinx and your narcoleptic ass was snoozing it up in Seattle. Okay, in the Pacific Northwest. Please, it is Sunday. The library is closed on Sunday. Do not let me open the library. Listen, Jinx, you were in the Pacific Northwest. You weren't known past the Bay Area. Stop it. Don't do that. You became a national act because of Ru.
Yes.
Like, Ru did his due diligence. Everybody knows stuff, knew about Peppermint. Then when you guys come out, he's like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Like, you became a known name, a known commodity in the community. He is not, no one is saying you can't be a performer now, because guess what? If you transition, no one is saying that, oh, now you're a woman, you can't be an entertainer. Well, you're just not a drag performer anymore. Now you're just an entertainer now.
Yes.
Now you're just a comedian.
That's right.
Now you're just a singer. Now you just get made up now. You just get on stage and you entertain people now.
Right.
Jinx, you're a very funny, very entertaining performer. No one's taking that from you. Now, if you're a woman, nobody's taking that from you. What are you talking about? Jiggly, I don't find you to be entertaining at all. You just a little round meatball, a little loud meatball, and I'm not taking away from who and whatever you want to identify as. But shut up, okay? You coming for somebody who gave you a shot. Mom, let me tell you something. Let me be very clear to you. Let me be very clear to you and anybody else out there. Let me be very, very clear. Let me be very clear. Let me tell you something that my mama always told me. Is there another one? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes.
That's a nice one. Look at that ring. Let me tell you something my mother always said to me one time. My mother was very upset with me one day. She was buying something for my children, right? And I was just like, why are you always buying them expensive stuff? And I was just like, don't do that. And, you know, we were having a war of financial philosophies, right? And I'm like, you know, I didn't appreciate, you know, her going out of her way, but she was like, this is what I want to do. And she said, let me tell you something. The only MF thing you should be doing is saying thank you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so at that moment, right, at that moment, I had to get over myself. I had to get over myself, and I had to look at it from her point of view.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
She paved the way for me. She is my mother. I am not her mother. I am not her father. If RuPaul is the drag mother to how many of you?
Right. The matriarch.
Okay?
Yes.
So you have to sit back and go, hey, hold on. Let me look at this from RuPaul. I get what she's saying. I get what's happening right now. Let me pump my brakes.
Yep.
And let me say thank you.
Yep.
Because RuPaul has done a lot of work.
A lot of work, not just for y'all, but the community itself.
A lot of work.
A lot.
I'm sorry. You've affirmed me as an individual and a whole lot of people as individuals. I get what you said. Maybe we can do a spin-off show. Maybe we can do something. Let's have a dialogue about how we can do something for the trans to get trans community in the limelight. Let's do something. Let's figure something out.
Yes.
Because I would love for you to use this same power that you have, and maybe that's all you had to say. Instead of dragging, pun intended, to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where the disrespect lies.
Yeah.
And that's why I was kind of like, Ru, why you apologize? Like, I have an issue with apologies in general. That's one. But number two, I felt like RuPaul should not have apologized. Let me read this apology to y'all.
Do you have it on screen? Because I don't know where to go. Okay.
It says, I understand and regret the hurt I've caused. The trans community are heroes of our shared LGBTQ movement. You are my teachers. Right? Okay. So here's where Ru. This is, I just felt like, no. They should be apologizing for the reason you just stated.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there should have been a pause to have conversation. RuPaul, they're saying he's behind the times. I don't necessarily think so. But I do think it opens up room for dialogue of, hey, here's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Can you validate where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And I can also hear you and the position you're coming from. It's no different than what the example you just gave, which I thought was a good example between you and your mother. Yeah. It doesn't negate the philosophy from which you were coming from. Yeah. Not at all. But at the same time, you know what? Thank you.
In the moment, I made my point, you made yours, and then your point at this moment is going to supersede mine. You heard me, I heard you, and thank you. Let's revisit this because I just kind of want a dialogue, and let's revisit it because anything after that is disrespectful. Anything after that is disrespectful.
What do you think this does to the relationship between these contestants and RuPaul? Do you think it does anything? Do you think it'll, what do you think just about that interpersonal relationship after being dragged like this?
Okay, there's two rules that you're talking to.
Okay.
There's real Ru, probably a lot. There's business Ru.
Okay.
Business Ru is like, bring that MF on the show. This is good TV. Right? Business Ru's like, Jiggly, bring your little round meatball ass on All Stars. We finna, BB, I'm real shocked. Real shocked that BB Sahara. I was like, BB?
Yeah, very. As much as
BB
has nurtured and protected and allowed her to.
BB?
Yes.
Woo?
Yes.
Okay. I was, Mother. Cameroon. I was shocked. I found it to be disrespectful.
Yeah,
so,
I did too. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Ru, if you're watching, love your show. And, I keep doing what you're doing. I agree with you wholeheartedly in your article. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah. I thought it was well stated, well articulated, and I'm sorry that people just didn't take time to read in this age of clickbait. So,
yep.
Yeah. I think we have another topic coming up next. The Revolution is going to talk about the state of Black Hollywood in the face of Black Panther success, Wrinkle In Time's release, as well as another film that's done well quietly.
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about everything in Black Hollywood right now. Okay. We're going to talk about Jordan Peele's Oscar win for Best Original Screenplay. We're going to talk about Wrinkle In Time. It just came out this weekend. The numbers are in. We're going to talk about its numbers. We're going to look at Black Panther crossing the $1 billion mark.
Yeah.
And really looking at what that really means. Yes. And looking at another film that's quietly very successful.
Yes.
And no one's really talking about that. Which is Jumanji.
Yes.
So, and just talking about all of Black Hollywood, and really dissecting it all, hopefully by the numbers. Okay. So you're going to get some numbers, you're going to get some opinions from me, The Revolution. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to FCN's broadcast of the Sunday edition. I am The Revolution, and joining me for this here segment about the state of the Black Hollywood address is JCo is it of FCN's 2 broadcasts. What's the name of your little show that you guys have over there?
My little show, my little ditty. True Baller Thursday with the Reggie Mathis.
Can you spell that for me?
True, True. Baller.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks. So he's a host of some show about, is it about hip hop artists?
No, it's about basketball, NBA basketball.
Moguls? Is it about drug?
It's about more ratings than the Tuesday show.
About kingpins of the drug variety. So, about thuggery. About all sorts of thugonomics. Thuggery. And you and the Reggie Mathis, don't let nobody fool you. The Reggie Mathis is thug supreme. He is thugonomics supreme, okay? Do not let him fool you. He is from the mean streets of the East Side. He is not a nice black man. He's not nice. No, he's not a nice black man. His brother is, his son is. He's not.
He's not.
Everybody around him.
He's a mean man.
He's a mean motor scooter. That the Reggie Mathis don't. He will one of these and one of these and one of those. He's a very bad guy.
I'm rethinking.
Always helping his mama at the church. Don't let that man fool you. You might think about getting you a new
co-host.
Yeah, he's a bad man. He's a very bad man. So this weekend. New film came out, but you know we've had a lot going on in Black Hollywood.
Yes,
a lot of happening in Black Hollywood.
Oh yes.
Ava a while ago she was the first Black female director granted $100 million film. Ryan Coogler was granted a $200 million film. Jordan Peele was first to get. Was he the first to have a box office of excess of, no, he wasn't the first to have $200 million because I think that was F. Gary Grant. It was, something. My research is off here. But nevertheless, there were a lot of firsts in Black Hollywood.
Well, he became the first black director or the black writer to win Best Screenplay.
Well, yeah, I was going to get to that,
Okay.
but he definitely had something with his success with his film.
With the film
and his box office success.
Okay.
And so this is obviously turning some tides in Black Hollywood, and we're all wondering where this goes.
Yes.
So the first thing that we're going to have to talk about, because where this show airs is after box office numbers come out. So we had to shift some things around. So to start the show off, we have to talk about A Wrinkle in Time.
Okay.
So let's talk about A Wrinkle in Time.
Let's talk about it.
A Wrinkle in Time's box office numbers came out today, and they are, where are they at?
Where are they? Do you have those numbers? Because I didn't.
You didn't
look those
have
up.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, they are. Bear with me here. I believe they are at
33 million.
33 million.
Which is, might I add, on Thursday, the Revolution and I were having a discussion, and he said 30 million for Wrinkle in Time this weekend.
Yeah. And this is why I said it was going to make $30 million this weekend. Black Panther had just made $65 million the previous weekend. And I said, even if they split the box office, which I said they were going to do, I didn't think that they were going to do anything more than that. I said, Black Panther's probably going to make another $35 million. Right? I said, Black Panther's probably going to come in at $35 million.
41.
Right? And it came in at 41. I said, you got the same audience, and you're splitting the audience. Right? So let's talk about that, right? People are already talking. There's a lot of people saying, Jamie Broadnax of Black Girl Nerds, she's also a critic for Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
She gave it a 4 out of 5 review. There are a lot of people who gave it a lot lower review on Rotten Tomatoes. It does not have a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It is very mixed reviews by critics overall.
Yeah.
There are people saying that everyone is saying visually, it
visually
looks great.
stunning.
Visually stunning. They're saying that the actors and the actresses did great jobs, but they are not happy with the story and the pace.
Right.
They're not.
Right.
Ava has gone on to say that this was the exact film that she set out to make, and she is happy with it.
Okay.
She is literally saying she is happy with the film. This is the film that she wanted to make, right?
Okay.
I'm going to tell you all out there, I did not watch the film. I'm not, able to get out and do a whole lot, right? So I have not gone out and seen the film, so do not come for me. However, I want to, as soon as I can get out and about. I have a neurologist appointment tomorrow. After that, we'll see where I'm at, and I will try to see it as soon as possible. Physically possible. So here's the thing. Let's just talk about the box office.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
I blame Disney.
Yes.
I do not blame Ava. I do not blame the story.
Yep.
I do not listen. There were worse films throughout history that have had better box office openings.
True.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
There were better films that didn't do well. John Carter of Mars was not a horrible movie.
It wasn't.
It was not.
I actually didn't think I would, but I enjoyed that movie.
John Carter of Mars was actually a pretty good movie. Ender's Game was not bad. Like, there are certain films that were much better, right? The problem is, let me tell you this. Disney did not hedge their bets correctly with these films. They said, hey, we got 2 black directors. This is what we're going to do. We're going to ride the coattails of one, and then we're going to have that audience come in and ride that wave into the next film. But what they did not see is that Black Panther was going to be as big. Oh, sorry, guys. Was going to be as big as it was moving into.
Yeah. So what they did was they got on the wave too early and it crashed over them.
Yeah, I just don't think that they saw that Black Panther was going to be this big. They didn't. They did not.
And why not?
Can we discuss that later?
Yeah, we can.
Can we discuss?
We can put a pin in
discuss.
it.
Well, let's put a pin in it, and we'll discuss that later. So I haven't seen it, so I can't talk about that. But I will say, I'm putting the blame in that on the studio.
Yeah. Yes. It was ill-timed.
It's ill-timed. It was bad booking. You do not. This is your decision to put your 2 tent poles on top of each other. It's not smart.
Right.
It's not a smart play to put your 2 first-time Black directors in your studio on top of one another, to split your audience, your 2 Black audiences apart from one another, and then to bring in families and to make people have to choose.
Right.
And you look at that combined, that's 74 change $1 million.
Yeah.
That if you had let Black Panther play out, could have,
they
like you could
premiered
have
at 50.
No, they could have gotten about 60.
60, yeah.
They could have gotten
60,
about $60 million, which I thought that they would have gotten had Black Panther not been around.
Right.
I said they'll get about $60 million. That's what I legitimately thought they would get.
Yep.
Even with the hype machine, I never thought that they would exceed $60 million. I just didn't.
Yeah.
And nothing against Ava. Nothing against, but it's just, it wasn't one of those themes where I just felt like it was, the book was written in the 60s.
Yeah.
It just, I just never knew people to just have that big of a fanfare for A Wrinkle in Time.
Right.
I didn't. I just never did. So let's move on. Let's move on to Jordan Peele.
Okay.
We haven't really talked about his monumental win. The Oscars, what was it, last week?
Yep.
Was it last week?
Last week, yes.
Last week, Jordan Peele became the first African-American man or person, period.
Yeah,
excuse me, I apologize. African-American person to win screenplay, best original screenplay.
Original screenplay, yes.
And so it was well-deserved. It was well-deserved.
Yes.
Get Out was an amazing script. It was an amazing feature film.
Yes, it was.
Let me say this to you. Let me say this to you about that, right? I liken his win to Barack Obama's win in the 2000. When did he win? 2008.
So it was 2008. Yes.
2008, correct?
Yep.
I liken it to him winning in 2008.
And how so?
I'll tell you why. 70 years prior to that, we got what? What did we receive 70 years prior to that?
Was the right to vote?
Right?
Yep.
70 years.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Emancipation Proclamation, all that, right? Right? So we were able to have a president. Just because we got that win now doesn't really mean it was a symbolic victory.
Okay.
We were able, like we've had people able to win.
Right.
Right? So here's my point, right? Let's look at 1989. We can talk about all the people, but let's look at a legitimate candidate, right? Let's look at a legitimate candidate. Let's look at 1989.
Okay.
1989, a number, another summer. Sound of the funky drummer, right? Let's look at 1989, right? Which is a great year for cinema. Listen, you want to talk about Oscar years? One of the best Oscar years ever.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
You had Batman, you had Driving Miss Daisy, Born on the 4th of July. This was a huge Oscar year.
Dead Poet Society.
Oh, wait a minute. Sir. You move too fast, sir. So, now let's talk about original screenplays. Right? The original screenplays reads like a who's who of white privilege. Okay, it reads like a who's. It reads like a who's who of white privilege. Let me give you some shots here. Let's give me some. So there's a film that I've never seen before. And I believe it's called, what is it? Misdemeanors and Crimes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Crimes
and Misdemeanors.
You've seen that?
No. I just remember the name.
Crimes and Misdemeanors, right? starring white people.
Yeah.
And who obviously
Starring white people.
And I'm sure they get away with them. That's why they did a film, crimes and misdemeanors that we get away with, right? I'm sure nobody gets any time in this film, right?
Right.
No time is served. Then you have sex, lies, and videotape.
That's right.
Voyeurism, yes, sex, lies, and videotape, where you can have sex, lie about it, and record it,
And watch it.
and watch it, and don't get in trouble for revenge porn. See?
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun, baby.
Okay.
Then you have, what do you have in there? Is that Driving Miss? No, that's adapted. Driving Miss Day.
Okay.
When Harry Met Sally. When Harry Met Sally. When a white woman could fake an orgasm in public and not be seen as indecent.
Yes. Yeah. No, people just want to know,
Hey,
how'd she do it? I want that.
I want what she's having. Right?
Yeah.
Then you come along to a little ditty about a brother who just wanted a few packs of D batteries.
Yeah.
Just some D batteries, man.
Man.
On a hot day in Brooklyn, New York. I mean, it's a hot day in Brooklyn, New York, man.
Yeah.
It's a hot day. It's a hot day, baby.
Right. Just some D batteries.
Just
to
some
power that music.
That's it, man. He's just having a good day, right? Oh, and finally, you have the creme de la creme of white privilege. You have, and if I remember correctly, a Eastern, I'm guessing, with all the foliage and the leaves of the trees, some fine Eastern boarding academy, a prep school of Ivy League upper crust white gentlemen, bred of the finest privileged,
the finest strain of privilege,
white
on the eastern seaboard,
of whiteness,
honkydom personified.
Oh, honkydom extraordinaire, who hate their fathers, and some white man jumping on top of tables screaming carpe diem and seize whatever.
Seize the whiteness.
Seize your whiteness, and let me just say this, okay? Let me just say this.
Go.
Let me just say this. 1989. Spike Lee could have won. I said all that to say this.
Yep.
We could have had a black man become president 70 years ago, before 2008. We could have had a black man win it then, if the Academy so decided to go, well, this is just as bold and daring as that is, right?
Yep.
Whatchamacallit did win that. Dead Poets Society won, right? That film never did anything for me. It didn't speak to me.
Right.
It didn't resonate with me. You know what movie did? You know what film, You know what film resonated with me?
Do the right thing.
Do the Right Thing. Police brutality. Right now, that was 1989.
Yep.
1989. That film next year will be how old? 30 years.
30 years. Yeah.
That film will be 30 years next year, man. And guess what's happening? Police are still choking people out and killing them, and no one is getting in trouble for it. And racial tension is still at an all-time high in this nation. And you're telling me that film didn't win for best of, come on.
Yep.
Come on. If that came out today, would that win? I would vote to say yes. I would probably say yes. Now it would be like, oh, it's an admiration. It's, oh my God, I can't believe that film is so bold and gritty to show. No, it was bold and gritty. Spike Lee is always ahead of his time.
Absolutely.
When you look at She's Gotta Have It, I couldn't believe as a kid. I was like, man, I didn't get, and now we're just now able to understand how bold and free he made a black woman.
Right, and it's just now okay for women to speak like that. Like, oh, well, this is how I am.
This is how I am. I'm sexually free. I can date whoever I want to date. I can sleep with whomever I want to sleep with. And we're just now able to be accepting of a black woman owning her sexuality.
Yep.
So, I don't know. So my hat's off to Jordan. I wonder where he's going. I think that I kind of want him to distance himself from the race genre. I want to see him do something else. He's supposedly working with Spike. I think that's a huge no. I'm sorry, but Spike just deals too much in race.
Yeah.
I want him to move away from that immediately. Like, I don't want him to get pigeonholed in race.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be known as the director that just deals in that medium. It's like dealing with mercury. Do you know what dealing with mercury is like?
No.
You know, you deal with mercury, you're going to get mercury poisoning.
Oh, yeah. Right.
You know, so he's going to...
It'll seep through.
Yeah, you know, so you have to be careful in that. So my hat's off to Jordan. He's a very talented young man. He's not young. I think he's older than us. But nevertheless, one thing that is funny, though, like... people were, you know, like, oh, now his wife is out. People were charging him with that, you know. But what's funny is, where was she the entire time?
Yeah, absolutely.
She wasn't anywhere to be found. And then she did show up. And I'm not...
It was an open secret. Like,
it was
people who know, but we're not exactly advertising this.
Yeah, she wasn't anywhere to be seen. But, you know, I don't care. Whatever, you know. Yeah. He's mixed. So.
Right.
But what does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. It means...
What does that mean?
I don't know. It means he likes women that look like his mom.
It's going to be a topic for today. We're going to deal with that later. We touch that later. And so Jumanji. Let's talk about this little engine that could. Like, legitimately, right? Legitimately, right? So Jumanji, let me tell y'all something right now. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is easily the king of Black Hollywood. Okay? Jumanji we're all celebrating Black Panther for crossing the $1 billion mark, right?
Yep.
Jumanji is at globally $930 million. $930 million, right?
Yep.
With the washed up Jack Black. This dude is washed.
Right.
He is ass, booty, butt. He's done. He's done. The only reason why he's in this movie is because they ran out of budget and they was like, hey, we need a white dude. And they was like, oh, you know who we can get? Get that fool-ass white boy, Jack Black. He ain't got nothing else to do.
That fool-ass.
Put him in this. And he was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Who was this white boy?
I don't know who she is.
We don't know who she is.
Never seen her before.
We don't know who she is.
I didn't know it was called Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle.
Hey, it doesn't matter. It's just called Rock Jungle Action Summer Flick 106. Okay? Oh, and throw his buddy Kevin Hart in there.
Kevin Hart goes in there.
Kevin Hart goes in there.
Those two make beautiful music together.
Hey, to the tune of $931 million. Globally.
Yep.
And listen, do me a favor. What is the foreign take on that?
It is $536 million.
And what is the percentage of the box office?
57% of the total gross.
So 57% of the total gross of this film is from the foreign market.
Yes.
Okay. How much is the budget for Jumanji? Welcome to the Jungle.
Budget of Jumanji was...
It's $90 million.
It was $90 million.
It's $90 million, right? Do they have a huge all-star cast?
No.
They
have Rock, Kevin Hart.
That's it. You stop there. They don't have Angela Bassett. They don't have Forrest Whitaker's Sleepy Eye. They don't have Michael B. Jordan's Amazing Body. They don't have
On the Rise, Lupita.
On the Rise, Lupita has arrived a long time ago. On the Rise is, what's her name? Shuri. What's the actress's name? I can never remember her name.
Letitia,
yeah. Listen, man. They have Dwayne. Dwayne. Look at this, man. 50% of this cast is white.
Yep.
57% of this box office comes from the foreign market.
Yep.
That is telling you something. It's not all black.
Right.
It is enough white that people around the world are like, okay, yeah, let's go see it. It's not all black. Let's go see it.
Right.
This film is very successful. And here's another thing that I want to talk about this film, right? Where are the Pacific Islanders congratulating Dwayne Johnson at? You know, because they only want to congratulate Jason Momoa's success and want to talk about black people like, well, when are you guys going to celebrate others besides yourself? Well, when are you guys going to celebrate him?
Right.
He has tribal tattoos.
Yes, he does.
He claims his Pacific Islander heritage.
Yes, he does.
Where are you guys at? He's almost made $1 billion. And he didn't need no stupid ass DCEU terrible ass franchise. He did it with terrible ass Jack Black.
Yes, on a remake of a movie we already saw.
Listen, man, we don't even have, he did it with Jungle Summer Action Movie 106.
There you go.
Right? Like, let's talk, this dude is box office diamonds, pearls, gold, and white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired babies. The most precious commodity known to man. Male, blue-eyed baby.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Heavy water, uranium, and male, blue-eyed baby. It's how you make nuclear weapons. You gotta have white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby.
That's the secret ingredient.
Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it is. He has it.
Yeah.
Sauce.
It's got the sauce.
Oh, he's got it in spades. But where is everybody talking about it? Why are we not? See, like, I think we're only talking about what everyone else is talking about. We're only talking about what the memes and what gifts and what the tastemakers are talking about. Because Kevin Hart's black.
Yep.
The Rock's part black.
Yep.
The Rock is a Pacific Islander.
Yep.
They're almost at $1 billion.
Yep.
They only had $90 million. Like, these are facts, ladies and gentlemen. These are facts.
Yeah.
Where's the celebration at for their success? I'm asking. I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for my FCN friends out there because they want to know.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Where is the narrative for a Pacific Islander? For an African American? For box office?
So you're
success.
saying that the people that even call for these things aren't choosing the things that they're calling for?
Exactamundo. Here it is. Here's another one.
They're still being spoon-fed.
Here's another one.
What to
Here's another
cape
one.
for?
Yes. No, because they want it all. It's all or nothing with these people. They got to have it all. It's got to be a black director, a black producer, a black writer. It's got to, like, look, man, we're still out here. We're still doing it. You know, like, you all were caping for DC. Y'all were caping for Zach.
Yeah.
You were
Suicide Squad. Like, God. What?
Y'all cape for all kind of stuff, but here it is. What am I missing? Help me out. Help me out. And so this moves on to my next point. We talked about Dwayne, right? Look at that. Tribal tattoos. He's clearly part black, part Pacific Islander, right? His mother is from the island of Samoa, right? Wide, proud Samoan nostrils. Wide Samoan nostrils.
Okay.
Thick, kinky Samoan hair. So let's move on to I wanna move on to something else.
Okay.
I wanna kill a narrative. I really need to kill a narrative.
Let's do it.
Black folks in general are bothering me about the Black Panther, right? And they are starting this misinformation campaign that blacks are accepted globally because the Black Panther has crossed $1 billion. Right? It's a little misleading.
Yes.
It's a little misleading. Okay? And we have a problem here because we're taking too many symbolic victories. And you should start asking certain questions. We should start asking certain questions. And you can't hold everybody accountable, but you should really look at what you're talking about. So let's really look at the numbers about actual foreign market success. Because here's the thing. Disney, since Marvel joined Disney. Disney has a long foreign market reach and distribution.
Oh, yes.
They're in every country. Boy, they're like America in military, okay? We got bases everywhere. Disney has distribution everywhere. Okay?
Yep.
So let's look at the films, right? Starting when Disney and Marvel linked up. We're going to start with the least successful, the least financially successful, moving all the way up, right? And I believe it starts with Ant-Man, right?
All right.
So the domestic take of Ant-Man is 180, foreign 339 for 65% of its budget. I mean, 65% of its gross,
yes,
was from the foreign market.
And that was a bad movie.
Yes.
By the way.
Very. Okay. 65% of the people that saw that film came from the foreign market. 65%. Thor: Dark World. 68% of the people who saw this, 68% of the people, and you all hate it. Let's be very clear. You all hate Thor: Dark World, but the world loved Thor. The world, look at this. Look at this number down here.
Yeah.
438 million. Look at this cast now. Look at this cast, people, to the tune of 438 million. And
right there, there's the black guy. If you squint, you can tell that might be
he might be
Idris.
Might be a shadow, perhaps. Maybe some type of wizard. Look at this, Doctor Strange. 65%. This film did $445 million in the foreign market. 404. Doctor Strange, and then you have Benedict Cumberbatch coming out of the Stargate there. He's coming out of the Stargate.
That's what happened.
And then look at this, Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier
there.
63%.
63%. Look at him, getting ready to storm the beaches of Iwo Jima. Captain America
is doing better overseas than in America.
The guy that's bombing the hell out of everybody.
Yeah, he went over there.
Raping and pillaging and droning. The guy that has been droning the shit out of everybody for the last 70 years. It's like, you know what, my friend? Hey, he bombed and killed my cousin on Ramadan, but you know what? He makes one hell of a movie.
Hey, Chris Pine.
Yeah, it's Chris Pine. What can I say? It's Chris Pine. How can you not love him?
How can you not?
It's Chris Pine. He's very inclusive.
He's inclusive, exactly.
He's very inclusive.
His tweets. Let's just look at his tweets.
Look at his tweets.
He capes for black women.
Yes, he loves the black women. Thor Ragnarok. Again, look at Negro. He in the back with his locks out now. And who twists his locks? Who in Asgard is doing his locks? Let's talk about that. She don't live in Asgard. She been gone for a long time. They don't know each other. And she ain't doing the
I think it was Loki.
It was Loki?
I think so.
You trying to say something? You trying to say something without saying it. Look at it, 63%. Look at that, $538 million.
Yeah. Yep.
In the foreign market.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, 440 for 56%. Let's say 57%.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This is actually the lowest one, 473 for 55%. Civil War, look at this, 64%, $745 million in the foreign market.
Yep.
Look at that. Look at that. Iron Man 3, the worst, let's be very clear here. This film, of all of these films, this film is absolute ass booty butt. This film is absolute trash. Absolute trash. 66%. 66%.
It almost made $1 billion overseas by itself.
I'm going to get to my point here. Look at this. Look at this. $800 million, right?
Yep.
Avengers.
Yep.
Ultron!
You just say Age of Ultron made $1 billion overseas.
Ultron, 67% of Ultron. Black Panther. Look at this. Just 48% of its take is in the foreign market.
Go back one. You see that?
No, let's go back two.
Let's go back two. So the combined aren't that. The combined for these, and of course Black Panther's still earning. We just made 46 this last weekend, so they're still building these.
Yes,
numbers.
Domestically,
right?
Domestically,
right. So these numbers are still building, but
I do not think they're talking about China. They're talking about China. Look. Let's call a spade. We didn't pull it all out here. We didn't pull it all out here, right? So look at this, man. Look. I done made my point here. Look at this. I done made my point. When are you all gonna? I'm gonna leave it here. I made my point. When are we gonna acknowledge that the world has a problem with black folks? And we're always talking about like like this big controversy with Bruno Mars and people wanting their black music from anybody but blacks. But when you have something like this, the proof is in the pudding. If you take this exact same film and you make this film white, the proof is in the pudding. This film would look more like more like this in the foreign market.
Yeah,
it would have made Black Panther would have made more to the tune of $900 million in the foreign market. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says. You can debate me. If Black Panther had this, if it were white, it would have made $900 million in the foreign market. It hasn't because it is a black cast.
Yep.
This film.
So we'd be at $1.5 billion right now.
Can I be honest with you? If it is at 9, we should be kind of I see what you're saying. We should be around there. It should truthfully be getting closer to like 1.8. It should be getting up there with Titanic or Avatar. It should be getting up there with Avatar. This should be one of the biggest films. And I'm not just saying it because it's black, man, but because it is so good. It's so fresh. You cannot tell me it is not more different than this.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me it's not more different than 800 million. It should easily have 800 million in the foreign market. It should easily have 890, but nobody wants to tell the truth because we only want to take the damn symbolic victories. Well, it made $1 billion. We always want to settle. Trey, do you have something that you want to say back there? Because I need, what am I missing? What am I missing?
Well, no, I don't think you're missing anything. I think we've made these comments before on Sunday editions about people really not understanding the film industry in general and how things work in Hollywood in general.
Yeah.
Why people cast who they cast. Really understanding how black people are seen in foreign markets. Like, there's a whole bunch that they don't understand. And I think and I always have to go to Black Twitter because that's where a lot of thoughts, at least that I see on social media, that seeing all of these black people on camera and all the black people who are behind the camera, and they're willing and ready to take these visible symbolic victories. Okay, we see this across the board, even as they fight for, and I put fight in quotation marks, as they try to fight for equality and justice and racial equality in many platforms. They take the surface level everything. You know what I mean? Like, you can even talk about no Confederate. We all stop at that surface level rather than digging deep. And I just think it comes from a lack of really understanding what fighting and be revolutionary really is, but at the same time, in this context, not understanding the film and movie industry. I've learned a lot just being a part of the FCN family, and I know that the most of the black intellectuals on Twitter have no idea what they're even talking about.
Yeah, so on top of that, what Tresnay just said, understanding, like knowing that, and then taking, because it's not like you're sitting here saying don't celebrate $1 billion. That's an amazing for any movie, no matter what. $1 billion is not something that many movies have done in history. Right. But don't now take that and say, well, now we should, this should all be what is being produced, when you take a look and say, well, this is why movie studios are still picking these kind of movies,
Yes.
because these are the numbers they could put up
Yes.
without thinking about it.
Without thinking.
And most of those movies that we just saw did not have a $200 million budget. Let's not, they invested a lot into making this movie great. They invested a lot, and we're not just talking about who they picked for the director, writer, cast, all that. Money, they invested a lot. I don't know what the budget on most of those, but what do you think? Maybe 3 of those are around that budget that are on that list?
Around what budget?
The $200 million.
A lot of them are around 2.
Are
and
they?
a lot of them are over 2. A lot of them are over 2.
Over $2 million?
Over 200 million. Yeah, the Avengers are over $200 million.
Yeah, and they bringing in 600 domestic,
Yeah.
900
Yeah.
foreign.
Yeah. Yeah.
$900 million overseas.
And they don't have the cast that the Black Panther has.
and you can fail on a movie, you know, in relative terms, like a Thor: Dark World or Ultron, which to me was not a good movie. I'm sorry.
Right.
And you still making how much overseas? $700, $800, $900 million overseas.
Listen. Ask me how much Justice League costs.
How much did Justice League cost?
$350 million.
Yeah.
$350 million.
That was why?
And they're still talking to this day about doing dumbass decisions. They like dumb. So white people get to mess up and make all the dumbest decisions in the world, and nobody bats an eye. Nobody bats an eye. But so do you think that? Where do you think moving forward that black directors, black writers, are they going to let us take chances? Do you think? Here's my thing. Let me ask you all a question. Does anyone in here think Tyler Perry's going to take a risk and he's going to come out into dealing in science fiction? Is he going to come out in the fandom? Does anybody think he's going to take a risk?
Risk?
I
don't.
No.
I don't.
I think that if he does it, it's because other black writers and directors would ask him to come apart. But
He may produce. I don't think he would write.
But that's okay. But that's him taking a risk.
Yeah.
Producing
if someone comes to him, then yes, I can see that. But I don't. If pressed, I would say no. I'm going to say no.
I mean, on any level, produce, direct, on any level.
Nope.
No. Trey?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I think that's so out of his wheelhouse, and he just has. I don't see him doing it.
Okay.
I see Oprah, maybe. You know what I mean?
Nah,
But
I don't see Oprah.
You don't see Oprah
Nope.
being a part of something like that? I would see her doing
Maybe
4 or 5.
producing. Yeah. Okay.
Well, because she was in Wrinkle in Time. That's
Yeah, she was. True. Touche. I see her though helping Ava, literally lending every bit of her star power to make that work. And I really wish I had a lot more inside information on why. Like, what is her interest in Ava? I think that she, Oprah grooms people. She groomed Dr. Phil. She groomed what's the little chunky
Rachel Ray.
Rachel Ray. She groomed Dr. Oz. She groomed Tyra.
Mm-hmm.
She groomed what's her name? The comedian that has her daytime talk show. Ellen.
Oh, Ellen.
She groomed Ellen. A lot of people don't know that. She groomed Ellen.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. She groomed Ellen. She helped Ellen get that deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So what's the next one that we have?
We are discussing. We're closing on race and culture, anti-Semitic reactions versus anti-black reactions. Specifically talking about Putin and his comments recently on Jews.
Okay. Who you having on with that?
No, I don't think we do actually. I think we just move on to it.
Oh, we'll just move on.
Let's
to
move
it
into it.
Okay.
All right. So Alexander Pietrov Dimitrov Putin. I don't know his real name. Putin. Yeah. The guy who's in Russia. So they're interviewing him recently, right? And he sticks into this interview about the meddling with the election, right? The 2016 election. It's pretty much guaranteed that we have enough evidence to say, okay, this actually definitely happened. The real kind of question is, number one, how deep was it? Number two, were any of Trump's people actually involved? I'm sure they were. But that's the extent of where that investigation is. So they're talking to Putin about it, and he goes, I do not know. Maybe the Jews did it. Maybe the Jews did it.
Yeah.
Like, that was...
Yeah.
If you know anything about this guy, first of all, it's no surprise that he said that.
Yeah.
The fact that he just stuck that in there, like, nah, I'm not claiming none of this. It was probably them Jews, because the Jews are, fault for everything.
Yes.
And so what is the reaction on this? We're all talking about it. Oh my God, he's so anti-Semitic. Look at him. He's put that out there. He's always attacking the Jews. He's so anti-Semitic. He's so anti-Jew, right?
Yeah.
Which is true. Mm-hmm. And it was ridiculous. It's ridiculous to even think that, oh yeah, well, there was this conspiracy by Jews in Russia to help Donald Trump get elected. Because why? Right? But then we're having this discussion, and it occurs that the outrage, that the commentary, that the publicity of this statement is so much more than when there's an anti-black incident, when there's an anti-black statement, when there's a killing of an innocent black person. Why is it that we can't even get the death of a man? The man was running away. So obviously he's not a threat, and he gets shot in the back.
Yeah.
And that of the killings by black cops, this one probably got some of the least coverage. And it got coverage, but it was like, okay, news cycle.
Yeah.
So why is it that these conversations are not happening when black people are dying versus just a statement against the Jews? They did it. They're behind this. What is it about this country that we are so, you can't mess with the Jews? Yeah, you can take blacks, fuck them.
Do you want me to answer that? Because
of course.
If I answer this, I'm going to sound anti-Semitic.
Well, I will be here. I will be here to counter anything that you say, and we can have a discussion on whether or not you're anti-Semitic.
No.
But please say it, because I want you to say it. Because,
okay.
Then if we need to, we'll preface this, that me and the Revolution were raised in a Semitic household.
Yes.
Can I say Semitic?
Yes.
Yes. Okay?
Yes.
So,
let me say this. First and foremost, because of that, right? Because of being raised in a Semitic household, mm-hmm. You see things, you know things, you hear things, so you're looking into everything and understanding a whole bunch of stuff. So you want to understand, how did Israel get created, and how you know what mm-hmm. I mean? And so it was a piece of land that wasn't anybody else's, and America came in and said, hey, this is now Israel, and you guys shut up. And mm-hmm. like, wait, what are you talking about? This isn't Israel, but it is now. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But it is now. No, it's not. Yes, it is. And Israel is do you understand that Israel is the only nation that we sell our surplus munitions to?
Yes.
Jets, tanks,
yep.
weapons, everything.
They are heavily stocked.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you also know that it is every Jew's mission that you send a percentage of your fortune mm-hmm. back to Israel? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So what is Israel's number one export? Like, where are you getting all this money from? Like, where does all this come from that you're able to create all of this wealth? And Israel is a beautiful nation. Mm-hmm. what do you make in Israel? Like, what diamond mines? What are you doing?
Are there any? There's not. Are there diamond mines in Israel?
No.
Yeah, no. There are brokers that come from Israel.
Oh, okay.
But that's not where the diamonds are coming from. They don't have oil.
Oh, okay.
Right?
No.
I would say their export would be people.
Oh, okay.
Business leaders.
Ah. Okay.
Financiers.
Ah. Ugh.
Bank owners.
So, financing.
So we're talking money.
We're talking money. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, there you have it.
Mm-hmm. So, our lives don't matter. Money matters.
Money matters. When your community, you just said, when your community owns banks, when they own media conglomerates, when they own music.
So here's the thing that I'm confused about, because the Jewish community are able to, in some ways have two competing narratives, like at the same time.
Yes, let me hear this.
They are business leaders, Hollywood, there's a lot of Jewish producers, financiers in Hollywood that are making big money movies.
Yes.
We're talking about the diamond industry, a lot of Jewish people that are involved in the diamond industry, as well as other business areas. To be that and to be a status of high society, wealthy, and at the same time be an oppressed and marginalized community of Jews are this and everybody hates the Jews and the Jews are blamed for all this stuff.
Yeah.
You have these two things, and I don't want to come off as anti-Semitic, because just because you're a Jew doesn't mean you're all things Jew, right? So people could accuse that, but my father is proudly Jewish. His wife is, and I'm not running across the board stereotypes about all Jews are good with money. I'm not that good with money. Good. My dad tried to teach me, these in an overall big sense, there are a lot of Jewish people in the money industry, one way or another, and then you have the community that's oppressed. So how do both of those even exist without the Jewish community? And we had this discussion before, helping other oppressed communities. I don't necessarily need you to answer that. I just kind of want to put that out there as something to kind of think about.
Yeah.
Like, because I've never understood why Jews and Jewish community, black community weren't closer knit.
But they were. And see, that's the thing though, right? Like, they were. Like, I have a great book about Jews and blacks, right? Have you ever read it?
I don't think so. What's it?
I think it's called Blacks and Jews, or Jews and Blacks. Like,
Okay.
it's something very basic.
Very basic. Okay.
It's something very basic. I'll let you read it. And how you're looking very across the board, like in jazz music, and when you look in New York, like slumlords, and how they would buy these buildings dirt cheap and put blacks in them, and they would become wealthy, charging all this rent, and then they would take that money and then invest it in their community, back in their neighborhoods, and they would use the blacks and not help them economically after using it. Like it's very problematic. Another buzzword that has very deep roots. It's very deep roots, and then when you look at like we said, jazz music and music industry, where you have all these titans of two sides of the music business, right? So you have all these great musicians, then all these great label owners and lawyers and managers who were what?
Jewish.
And these contracts weren't great, and they owned all their rights, and and we were forever entwined into a lot of negativity. When then you get terms that I had to learn the hard way, when you like, oh man, he out my money.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're like, oh man, and it's a very ugly term, and it's very rough. It's very rough and nasty business. But it's funny though how, again, I've always said how stereotypes work in certain people's favor.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shoot, I want him to be my lawyer. I want him to be my accountant.
Yeah, like, oh, you're stereotyped as being good with money. Boo hoo.
Yeah.
I wish I was stereotyped as being good with money. Like, go ahead, give me your money. I'm good with money.
Well, but you know what though? You've never also advertised yourself as someone. I guaranteed you, if you put yourself up, created a shingle, and said, "Hey guys, I'm a financial," you know what I mean? They're like, "Oh wait, really?"
Yeah.
People would believe it because, I mean, I'm just saying.
Because Joshua Cohen.
Let me ask you a question. How long has your sister been in business for herself?
Oh man, and at this point, it's been about 6-7 years.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Right. She's pretty good with money.
Oh yeah. That's what she does. She's an accountant.
So 50% of y'all is good with money.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so think about that.
And I'd say 90% of her clientele is black.
Hey, you got something else you want to say about this, man?
Well, I just want to say that could be the okay. No, I have nothing else really from this.
Okay.
My sister's not. She does not screw people out of their money. She gives more than she gets. I can tell you that right now.
No, I'm not saying.
No,
saying
I want to make
the
silence clear to the viewers that we're not implying anything about my
sister. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm concussed, so certain things are not as fast as they should be for me. And we have one more thing. Trey, did you want to come on for this last one, or do we even deal with this, or do we get out of here?
I think we should get out of here.
All right, let's get out of here.
We're done for today.
Go ahead and close us out.
All right. Well, I mean, I do appreciate everybody tuning in. We were
Yes.
chock full of different categories and topics tonight, so I hope you gained something from it. I definitely hope you learned something from it. We are returning tonight. We've got a good lineup. Of course, we've got We the Dead, hosted by the Reggie Mathis. It's coming up tonight, 8:30. Coming up next at 7 p.m., hosted by Nakila Shannon and Stacey Majors. We have Speak On It. Are there any other events that we have going tonight?
I don't think so.
I think that's it.
He said
I said We the Dead. Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually
sorry.
started with that. And then, of course, our normal schedule starts tonight with those programs, as well as tomorrow we're doing Prime News. Tuesday, Black Lightning. Wednesday, The Woo Show. Wednesday, the Gianni Versace show. It's a ACS Versace. Thursday, another Prime News. We've got Thursday Wind Down and True Baller Thursday.
And then Fry.
And then we got Fry on
Our
Friday.
horrible.
I want more people to watch that. We picked some really good, crappy movies.
Yeah, we do.
To air, and you should definitely tune into those and watch with us and comment. So that is all. I appreciate the Revolution.
Thank you.
Coming back and being the tent pole of this show today.
Oh, I'm not the tent pole.
Oh, yes, you were.
No.
Today you were. Trezane, thank you also for being on. I am JCo is it. We'll see you guys soon. Again, thank you for watching.
See you. I'm gonna spin.